Greetings, viewers. This is A Vision Media Broadcast. Once again, we have a special show for you. We have the legendary group. This is the Whispers. Everyone knows about them. They do shows everywhere. They still rocking and rolling. This is what they're doing. The legendary Whispers have earned a solid and memorable position as one of the world's longest running vocal groups. They have 33 top hits, over 40 charted singles, and 20 multiple gold platinum albums. How you doing, fellas?
Man, we doing great, boy. That sounds good, brother. Keep on talking.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. I just want y'all to know that my mother, my family, my father, they loved listening to you when I was a kid. So this is where I got my soul from. This is where I got the music that I love from back then. I'm a '76 baby. I know I'm still kind of I'm young.
Yeah, you baby. Yeah, you real baby.
I'm a baby, but the music that I listened to and grew up on is hitting today. Like it's still you guys, the OJs, everybody. This is what I love.
Right. Hey man, props to your parents for introducing this music to you. Tell them we love you and respect you, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, and I will. Yeah. So, fellas, I just want to get into it with you guys. I just want to know, where are you guys from? Like, where did you all grow up at?
We grew up in Los Angeles, California. You've heard of Watts, California? I'm sure you've
Watts,
heard.
Yeah, Watts.
That's where we were raised in the Watts area. It's called South Central here in Los Angeles. We all went to high school. Leaveil, he was kind of middle class. He lived on the west side. He didn't know about the projects or nothing.
Okay. You on the west side, huh?
Yeah, he's on the west side. Yeah, he lived in a house. I put it like that.
Okay, bro.
He kind of lived in the projects.
Okay. That's what's it at. And Leaveil, yeah, I can say that one more time. I can hear you.
I said I was a little bit too frail to be in the ghetto.
Oh, okay. That's that,
man. Beat me every day, so.
Well, that's good. How you guys teamed up together. And I know, like back then, years ago, it was more. It was like maybe 4 or 5 of y'all back then, right?
Yeah, it was 5 of us, man. Nicholas Caldwell and Marcus Hutson. We lost Nicholas in 2016, and we lost Marcus in 2000. So we still putting along. Yeah, but they're right there with us, both of them.
That's what's it at, man. And I know that being as though it's down to 3. It's difficult doing like vocal ranges, because I know when it's 5, everybody had to play the part with the vocals. Is it different now with just 3 people?
A little different. We the parts that Nicholas and Marcus sang, they're recorded, so we use their parts, but so the harmonies. So when you see the show, the 3 of us are singing harmony. We try to use as little. We don't do no imitation stuff. So what you see is real on stage.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's about the same. I think that's why we've been here. Our audience, they know our sound. When you hear the whispers, you know it's them.
That's right. It's no other. Y'all like unique. The only ones can have that sound.
Yeah, it is. It is.
How did you come up with the name Whispers?
Well, we didn't actually come up with it. The first record deal that we tried to get back in 35, 40 years ago, a little record label called Dore Records. We went into the record label trying to get a deal, and we auditioned for the record label owner. His name was Riverdale, and he loved our sound. He said to us, man, you guys got this real soft, whisper-like sound. Why don't we just call you the Whispers?
Wow.
So, of course, we said to him, well, if you give us the deal, you can call us anything you like.
That's right.
That's a true story. That's how we actually got the name. It stuck with us.
Wow, yeah, so that's how the name came about, huh?
Exactly.
What name did you guys have before that?
It was the Eden Trio, really, and it was Nicholas, Scotty, and Marcus. It was a trio, and we met up on a talent. I wasn't even in the group at the time.
No, I mean
they were called the Eden Trio, but the 5 of us entered a talent show with several other people. We won the talent show, but backstage when we were preparing to go on. Now, this was in the 70s, late 60s. Motown was at its peak, and everybody wanted to have a stand-up vocal group.
Yeah.
So we said, after this talent show, man, why don't we pool our resources together? And so we hooked up me and Scotty as a duet, Nicholas, Marcus, and Gordy as a trio, and that formed the Whispers right there.
Wow. And from there, you guys just broke through all types of charts. And did your thing. Yeah, I saw I saw y'all a few times, man. Actually, I was backstage with y'all at the Atlantic City at the Circus Maximus with Platinum Production. I was back there with y'all. Yeah.
Is that right?
Wow.
Yeah, I remember well, man. Yeah.
Saw y'all a
We
few
still play
times.
Atlantic City to this day.
Yeah, I know. Y'all listen, y'all still doing. How does it feel to still be able to perform, man, and still do the songs and the crowd love it, and also sing with you? How does that feel?
Well, you probably get, like you said, probably three different, answers to that. But I'm gonna tell you something. To me, the best kind of homage or respect that can ever be paid to an artist is to see your audience out there singing every single line and enjoying the show like they've never seen it before. Because when we go places, man, and we see people there every year at the same place all the time. So when you go out there, when you go and you hear people just getting up dancing and they're singing your every lyrical song, that to me is just unbelievable feeling that, to have that, been paying that kind of homage to you, you know what I'm saying? So when we look at it, a lot of artists don't look at it that way, but we look at it so in the aspect that how grateful are we to have that? We never lose sight of it. That's why I always use the word, and it's probably gonna drive them crazy. I always use the word humility. If you're humble in your craft, you can recognize when people are paying you respect. And so as long as we don't lose that, I'm great. And I love the fact that people are out there doing it every time. I mean, it wows me. We even say to them sometimes, they'll come to the show, come backstage, want to take a picture with you. Next, you come back 6 months, they got to take a picture with you. And I'm like, I didn't take a picture with my mug. Are you? Why?
Wow.
Change every year, so I want to, have that in chronological order. Do it again. So, no, it's definitely a humble.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, man. Nothing like it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And another thing that I would like to ask you, in the industry right now, a lot of groups don't really get their masters. They record all this music, they don't get it at all. Sometimes they get robbed from a lot of stuff, man. All the hard work that they do. What I find interesting is that you guys are actually re-recording.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're re-recording your catalog songs to regain your masters. Can you, and the first song you guys coming out with is "And the Beat Goes On."
Yeah.
What made you decide to bring that song out? I mean, I know you got a whole catalog of songs, but can you give me that story about what's going on with that? You guys
that's just the first one, and because what this really means, man, and the beat goes on is now owned by the Whispers. It was never owned by the Whispers before. So corporations that when you see a music on television or you see a commercial, you go to that company who owns that music and you do business with them directly. Wow. And what happened with the Whispers and a lot of groups, I mean, we're talking about before us, Little Richard and all these people that's got their catalog, they got paid $30-40 million. That wasn't even a tip of it, because they really should have been paid 4 times that. Wow. But because they couldn't own it, they didn't have the copyrights, they didn't really reap all the benefits. Well, it's like now, 40 years later, you have the right to re-record your own stuff. And now when a company wants to do business, they don't call a record company, they call you. Oh, wow. To do business. Okay. And so that's what we're doing, right? We're in the process of re-recording every Whisper song that has ever been recorded by us, that is now owned by us, that we can reap the benefits. Because I hate to say this, man, that you just put it lightly. Back in the day, we didn't have the clout or the authority to go up against a record company to own anything. Everything you did was owned by them. Wow. You know that as well as I do. So, man, just thank God we've been here long enough to go back and restart. And now we own what we do.
Well, let me also, you asked the question I think it's important that we answer. You said, why did we choose And the Beat Goes On?
Yeah.
We chose And the Beat Goes On because it was the biggest record we ever had.
I figured.
And the bigger the record is, the more interested the corporation is doing business with you, as opposed to the other company that stole it from you. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? So now, that's why, but like Walt said, we started with And the Beat Goes On, and we can honestly say, we've been blessed to have many, many hits. From 1980 to 87, everything we had was either gold or platinum. But the biggest one we've ever had was And the Beat Goes On.
Double platinum. Yeah.
Double platinum. And that's why we chose that, because that's the biggest one, that's the one that they will come after first, which is why we chose it.
Wow.
And you also, with the advent of all the new ways that music is being distributed by, Spotify, iTunes, CD Baby,
right,
YouTube, Apple Music, and Google Music, now you can really, get paid. You don't have to go through all these, you don't have to go through the record company at all. All of those, you can actually distribute your master, distribute your ownership to them, and they'll sell your music, and that's not necessarily the company's music. So that's another reason, because this platform wasn't there for us when we first began. So now, it's a platform that we can now finally take advantage of, and that's a lot through a lot of the young artists that decided, look, I'm tired of being slave over at a record company. I'm going to take charge of my own music and put it out myself.
Yeah.
And in our case, brother, what really we're blessed by is that the good Lord has enabled us. After 53 years, we still can sing our music.
That's right.
When you come see the Whisper show, you're not listening to a recording. You listen to me and Scotty sing.
That's right. That's live. Yeah.
Today. Yeah. So we thank the good Lord, man, for making it possible. I mean, I sing in the same key that I do now that I did when I was 19 years old. So we're blessed to be able to go like, what if we couldn't sing the songs now?
That was my point. I wanted to ask you that if you're going to record a catalog and do it all over again, do you still have to have the same voice from back then to do this album, right?
Oh, no question about it. Yeah. You can't let nobody else sing it. It's got to be you, and it's got to be.
You can't change the key either, because if you change, it's going to lose something too. So people are looking to hear that song exactly like
it was.
Okay. That's exactly right.
Okay.
So if that key dropped down to now where you sound like you're a bass.
That ain't gonna work.
Or they're looking for all them high notes that Scotty and Walter say. They're looking for all of those. They're looking for that background to be that same background, not 2 or 3 keys lower. They're not looking for that. So thank God we got guys that have never done anything to harm their voices. We've all been squeaky clean in our lives. No drugs, no smoking, no alcohol. So they've been able to retain those voices.
Wow, that's wonderful. I find it amazing that you guys are doing that to regain what's yours, and that's wonderful. And your first breakthrough hit was "Seems Like I Got to Do Wrong."
Yes.
Now, in 1970, how big of an influence was Ron Carson in your music career?
Boy, Scotty, that's your history.
Ron Carson found us and took us in the studio. I'm trying to think of the name of the guy that wrote "Seems Like I Got to Do Wrong." At the time, "Seems Like I Got to Do Wrong" was based on
the 1965 riots.
Watts riot. They were rioting in Watts, and the people was going crazy and shooting, and it's real simple. They would "Seem Like I Got to Do Wrong" before they noticed me is exactly what it says. I got to do something crazy before you understand what I'm trying to tell you.
Wow. Which is what young people are doing today with Black Lives Matter.
That's right.
Black Lives Matter today. It's not just a different situation. But it did make a little breakthrough. Like you said, it kind of broke through and gave us a little national audience that we didn't have before that.
Okay. So that song was right through like when the riots was kicking off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. And you know what's so funny about that, man? Can you think about, here we are 40 years later, man, when I saw George Floyd lose his life, I thought about "Seems Like I Gotta Do," like Scotty said, in order to make somebody notice you, you either got to burn a building or say something crazy.
That's right.
So when we did "Seems Like I Gotta Do Wrong," who in the world thought that 40 years later we'd be in the same predicament?
Same predicament all the time.
I mean, it just angers you, man. Which is why, when we go on stage, we do mostly singing, but we want to remind the young people of today, they were just like we were when we were their age, man. They're trying to make this country listen to what is going on with Black people. Yeah. And they can do it through their music. Mm-hmm. Music brings the whole world together. So if you got a message song, and there are plenty of them out there, early in the year before when COVID took over, we had another song called How Long? And we were asking the same question. How long are we going to have to continue to put up with the same stuff that we've been putting up, man, for 50 years? You know, so sing your music, make your message, but make sure it's heard.
That's right. That's right. And that's another thing that's very mind-boggling how we still going through this stuff. It's 2022.
Ain't that something?
And it's like it will never end. But I know it will. We just gotta wait for Christ to come. That's what I believe.
That's exactly right. That's right. He's the man, he's in charge of everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I know you two are twins. You know, they're twins. Did one of the twins was singing first? Or did you guys actually start it together? Like, because, you know, sometimes somebody will always have a single thing going on, or did y'all just start it right together, just like that?
No, Scotty started with the group. I actually sang with another group. You can tell the story, Scotty.
Well, I started with Nick and Gordy, like he told you earlier, and Marcus, and we were called the Eden Trio. We were just singing out of the neighborhood, out of the project. You know, singing on the block, you know, and then the Vietnam War came up, Walt had to leave. The only reason why they couldn't get me is because back in the day, the law says you can only take one twin.
One twin. Yeah, that's
so
right.
they took him, and that left me to say. And so while he was in Vietnam, we were like polishing our craft. You know, we were getting it together, but learning how to really do a live show and going on the road. I mean, things that we had dreamed about, we'd start to see kind of come true. And one thing led to another. Next thing you know, the Whispers name was like, really?
Wow.
You know, there we were.
Wow. So right after the when you went to Vietnam and you came out, you went right with your brother, right? Started the group. Well,
yeah, I did not right away. I came back, and believe it or not, my mother laughs at this all the time. I wanted to go to college and get a degree.
Right after
my mother said that. My mother laughed at me. She said, "Boy, I don't know why you waste your time, because you know you're gonna end up out there with your brother." Mm-hmm. I said, "Well, no, I'm gonna try to do that." Well, what happened? Scotty got sick. And he developed where they had to take one of his ribs. Wow. So he was laid up for a year in the hospital.
Valley fever.
So I had to come into the group and basically take over what he was doing. And oh my God, man, when we tell people about that episode, I was not ready for the Whispers were a stand-up professional group. And when he got sick, I had to come in and actually imitate what he was doing.
Wow.
And it took me about a year, but you know, Scotty was hospitalized for about a year. Actually, the rib grew back, but he had the rib
valley fever. It's called valley fever.
The rib actually grew back.
Yes.
It actually grew back.
Yeah,
they took the rib, and when I'll never forget, when they did the surgery, they brought. As a matter of fact, I actually wanted the rib, but because I asked the doctor, they brought it in and showed it to me. And for some reason, there was a law that said that couldn't happen. But I said, well, witness says it's mine. Can't I have it? They said, no, the law says that can never happen. But it actually said it'll grow back anyway. And it did.
Wow. I never knew a rib, because it's like a bone.
That's exactly right.
It grew back.
But he was so young. He was 27 years old. And that's basically what helped, because had he been older, I don't know if Scotty would be here, because that really ravaged his whole left side, you know, and he was just a young, strong guy. He didn't drink, didn't smoke, he was healthy. Mm-hmm. But the rib grew back, man, and lo and behold, you know, Scotty came. It took him about a year and a half to really try to come back.
Well, I thank God that you're here, man, because, you know, you guys just planted a whole seed in the world with the music that y'all put out. You know, that's exactly what y'all did, and I'm glad that you know everything is well with you.
Oh, man.
Well, you know, the other thing, man, when we were doing this, it goes to show you, we tell young people this all the time. We had no idea, man. We'd be in our front yard in the projects, and we make believe the broom was a microphone. We said to ourselves, man, you know, we had a make believe audience that was yelling and screaming. And we said to ourselves, man, we're going to go all over the world and be big stars. And when we said that, we didn't think, you know, we're just saying it.
You spoke it into existence. That's what you did.
Lo and behold, man, everything that we dreamed about came true.
Came about.
Yeah.
Wow. When I watch y'all on stage and I look at the performance, y'all still have those steps. You know, you do them smooth steps, those turns, you know, and I know y'all been doing this back then. How often do you guys practice your stage performances, and who was your choreographer?
Yeah, LaVelle can tell you all about that.
Tell you all about
He
it.
had a hard time breaking it.
Now, Le'Veil, I'm sorry, Le'Veil, your phone, something is jumping around. When you talk, it's like you go in and out, in and out.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, you go in and out when you
Really?
move.
I don't know what's happening. It was good on the other thing, but maybe.
Do you have any? You have headphones?
No, I don't have any. Well, yeah, I do, but you got time for me to grab them?
Yeah.
Let me tell the story about LaVelle. Let me tell you this. First of all, when LaVelle got in the group, Nick didn't want him in the group. That's the first thing. LaVelle was a good friend of Scotty's, and they had cars in common.
Yeah.
When Nick saw LaVelle, he said, "Man, he's a nice looking guy, and he can sing, but he can't move." And so Scotty said, "Nick, man, why don't we give him a chance? He can sing the parts."
Yeah.
But Nick said, "Man, he just can't move." So, but Nick went against, the rest. He finally went on and said, "We're gonna give him a shot." And LaVelle, for the next year and a half, sung backstage with a mic. Sung background parts before he ever came to the stage.
Wow.
So LaVelle, I was telling the guy that Nick didn't want you. I described to him the way Nick said. He's a nice looking guy, man, but he can't move, Yeah, I know LaVelle, and to his credit, man, I give him credit to this day. He sung for a year and a half backstage, singing the background parts. No one ever saw him. They heard him,
but they never saw him.
He never, and finally, and every day he would work with Nick on the routines that you talk about. And about after a year and a half, Nick one night said, "Man, I think LaVelle is ready to go on stage." Well, we came to LaVelle, he had the uniforms, he's singing backstage, and he kept asking, "Man, Nick, I'm ready. When y'all gonna let me go on stage?" So the night that we told Nick and we told LaVelle that he was going on stage, LaVelle like he had a heart attack.
Really?
Said,
Yeah.
Man, hold up.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, you wind up practicing because with Nicholas Caldwell, he was like a drill sergeant, and at the time that I joined the group, we actually roomed together. Okay. So every day we would have a rehearsal, for 2-3 hours, just learning the routines and getting comfortable in my own skin. And I kept saying to them, "Man, I'm ready. Man, I'm ready." And they're like, "Okay." Then another, say 3 or 4 weeks go by. I'm like, "Man, I think I'm ready. A year later, when they finally said, "Oh, you think you're ready? Well, you gonna go on." I guess they had what they did is they had their little powwow without me. Yeah. So when I rolled up and they said, "Okay, tonight's your night," and I'll never forget it. It was Rudy's End. I never shake that hard in my life. My knees were shaking, everything. But what was a good thing about it is that I knew I wasn't. How can I put it? I wasn't the professional like they were, but Nick had instilled so much in me.
That's right.
On how to carry myself, where my hands needed to be, and all those kind of things. But inside, I was like a wreck inside. But I knew long as if I faked it, I could get past it. So I did everything that Nicholas told me to do and got through that show. And every show that you do after that, you wind up getting more confidence. But lo and behold, still, even today, and I don't know how they feel, but even today, sometimes I still get nervous, but I think that's good.
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask, do you all still get nervous when you see big crowds out there, like the Dell East or,
Yeah. Oh, man, you know what? When you stop getting nervous, it's time for you to call it.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
Man, listen, I don't care how good you are or how well rehearsed you are. If your palms aren't sweaty, just before you go, I've been saying 3 years, just before you go on stage, there's this nervousness that takes place that you can't get rid of. It just comes. I mean, with me anyway. And now after about 30 seconds that you're out there, you hear the roar of the crowd, that goes away. Yeah. And like LaVelle said earlier, there's something about the roar of the crowd. What it does, man, it lets you know that all the hard work that you put in rehearsing has paid off. And man, there is no feeling like that. Take it from me. That's the greatest feeling in the world. because you know you're leaving everything out there, and you've worked your butt off. That's the one difference between the young people of today and versus us. Mm-hmm. Man, going on stage means everything. We rehearse how we walk from the curtain to the mic, you know. And the young people of the day, they're super, like we were when we were young. They're super talented. Yeah. They're too young to be intimidated. You know what I'm saying? The immaturity means they don't understand how important it is. Mm-hmm. But man, we are so glad to be out there and know that people like us enough to come to see us. Mm-hmm. These young people, man, they bring about an arrogance, man, that just is different than what we did. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to ask you, how do you feel about the new music today?
It's awesome. Awesome. The word it's just, man, young people, here's what you can't stop. You can't stop the future, man. I don't care how hard you try. There's going to be some bad and there's going to be some good. But the young people of today, the way they do their music, the way they've conquered the machine, the computers. Yeah. I mean, when we came along, there was no drum machine. You didn't have a time maker, you know, so the day young people have at their disposal, they can make music as beautiful as you want it to be. We didn't have that ability. And along with that, like us, they got God-given talents. I mean, look at Beyonce. That's How you gonna beat this young lady, man?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, look at Bruno Mars. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's there. You can't stop it. There's no need to try to stop it because that's what it is. So it's incredible. Right. You know, the only difference is that the appreciation that you should have, that people want to see you, mm-hmm. show that. Don't come with an arrogance, man, with your pants hanging down, saying, in essence, you ought to be glad that I showed up. That ain't what it is.
That's right.
You want them to say, man, I work my ass off so you would love what I do. Mm-hmm. That's the difference.
That's right. That's right. That's well said. That's well said. And you also started your own production company. Do you still have that going on? Because I know in 2006, you had an independent album, was For Your Ears Only, and that was through your. Was that through your
production company? Yeah, that was a production company that we formed with Capitol Records, and the producers of that was Leaveil and Nick. They produced me and Scotty called My Brother's Keeper, mm-hmm. and they wanted to do an album on the two of us, kind of doing some of the tunes that we wanted to do. But when we left Capitol, we lost that ability to have a production company because the funding came from them. Yeah. But then before that, we had a young group that we had that we're very proud of. But when the records company ceased to exist and we ceased to exist, all that went away.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you? Let's just say, what was your most challenging project you've completed? I know you'll have a whole lot of albums. What was the most challenging project for you?
Wow, that's interesting. What would you say?
I want to know about it. I want to use the word challenging. I'm going to use the best CD, in my opinion, that we've ever done. And that's a big one because we've been blessed to have some monumental hits. Okay. But For Your Ears Only, the CD that you just named, I don't know if it was because we felt that we owned it and we were in charge of everything, and it was we went in the studio knowing there was no pressure at all. We could do the very best that we could do, and I think we delivered on that CD. Now, it wasn't, you said challenging. I don't think it was as much challenging as it was rewarding for us. But that would be my opinion in terms of one of you two might feel it was challenging. I don't know.
Oh, no. It was very challenging. But what the unfortunate thing about it is that once we finished it, the distribution of it became the challenge. Because that, For Your Ears Only, didn't have the distribution of Rocksteady and The Beat Goes On. That was our production company. And when we left Capitol, the production company left with it. The audience never got to hear the songs that we feel are some of the best that we've ever done. Now they're gonna hear it because now we own it and we can distribute it on our own label, and that's what we intend to do. But that was a very challenging album from the standpoint, from the business side. From the business side, it didn't do what we wanted.
Right. Okay, from the business side. And I was talking about all of the albums you ever done. You know, like which one was the most challenging?
Most challenging.
Yeah, like all the albums you put out over the years, you know.
I'm gonna be honest with you. To me, the most challenging album that we ever did, to me, was Leon Silver's, and to me, because of the one, it was called The Whispers, but it had "And the Beat" on it, to me, it was Leon Silver's. Leon Silver's was a perfectionist.
Yeah,
he was a drum machine before there was anything called a drum machine.
Yeah.
But even when he did his vocals, he would literally sing you till you're darn near hoarse, because he was looking for you to sing this line exactly like he wanted to hear it.
Very true.
And that's subjective, but he was the producer. So you go in there and sing this line over and you think, man, I nailed that. He's like, well, you're just a little bit under. I'm like, oh my God. And that was the way he was through the lead and all the way through the background, because to me, that was the most challenging. A lot of producers know that there's going to be some little slight deviations, but they call it the human factor. Leon, being a new producer, he didn't want no human factor. He wanted it to be precise, and it was really, really challenging. I know it was more challenging for Scotty, because he wanted to walk out of there 2 or 3 times because of that. But it was, to me, that was the most challenging to me in terms of,
No, you're absolutely right. But you know what made it? Here's the problem with that. As challenging as it was, what you can't argue with is success.
Right.
It's success.
That's right.
When we did And the Beat Goes On, I mean, we tell this story all the time. Leon Silver started on his knees with the bass, hitting his knee into the bass drum. And he came up to the tom-toms, to the snare. And the track that you hear on And the Beat Goes On is Leon Silver's playing every one of those instruments. Wow. And it's amazing and at the time, we said, man, what is he doing? But when that product was finished, And the Beat Goes On was the biggest song that the Whispers ever had. Wow. And went, legitimate double platinum. Wow. So how can you argue with his technique? It was hard to do. In fact, it was so hard that we had problems doing the rest of it. It's a Love Thing came along.
Wow.
We did all those songs. But man, you can't argue.
Scotty.
Scotty, all that. Yeah.
Wow. I find it amazing that you guys, you've been around for a long time and you still at it. When you guys had your first hit, like the biggest record was And the Beat Goes On.
Without a doubt.
What were you guys doing at that time when you found out that it just exploded? Like, what were you doing? Were you working? Were you doing other things? Like around that time?
I was trying to find a job, because I didn't think we were going to go out anymore. I thought it was pretty much over. I think the year before that, we did 2 shows in a year.
2 shows.
And 2 shows. And my support at that particular time was my wife. She was working.
Okay.
And she supported us during that period of time. But then I started looking at her get up every morning to work, and I'm laying there being the entertainer, but not entertaining anybody. That was really a tough time, because we were going to have to make some real decisions if that record hadn't hit. But it did, and the Lord was saying, okay, now I let you struggle long enough now. Okay, I'm gonna give you one. And that was
and answer to specifically your question, you said what were we doing? The reason why I remember it so well is because that changed our lives completely. In 1979, like Leaveil said, we was like hunting for a job desperately, right? 1980, everything changed. When And the Beat was released, and to be honest with you, we knew it the night in the studio. When you have the big playback and you finish everything and you play it back and it's ringing through, we knew then. We said, you know what? Thank God it finally got here. But when it went through the roof. But in answer to your question, we went from barely making it to a whole new life.
Wow. It's
just that simple.
Overnight.
Yeah, but not only that, there's a lesson to be learned. Once again, we say it to young people with their dreams. We didn't give up. And I say to young people, when you get in entertainment, some young people do it because they want to show out and ain't serious to them. But if you're serious, don't give up on your dream. Believe in it. We did that. My mother came to me and Scotty, and she said, you know what? it's time for y'all to get some jobs with some benefits because this ain't working. Wow. You know, your parents, you know, they worried about you, but we didn't give up. We stuck with it, and we went into the studio. I think it was September, October of 1979. By June of 1980, we had a double platinum album, not single platinum, double platinum. That was real. And like Scotty said, man, it literally changed who we were. You know, and we had, at that point, we had been singing about 11 years. And people thought that the Whispers was a brand new act, new group. And man, we've been around for 11 years trying to get that hit. And if you talk to people at Motown with the Supremes and the Temps, they went through the same thing. Mm-hmm. But what it really shows, man, if you believe in yourself, don't give up. It will happen.
Wow. And you know, I know you guys said I'm quite sure you was like overly rich. You know, the money was pouring in. Does that kind of change you mentally after getting all this money? You never had it before, but when you get it, does it make you kind of be anti-sociable with some people after having all that money? Like how does that change a person? You know,
wow.
Well, we never. I tell you, the biggest reason why I don't think we ever had that problem. One of our biggest elements was the word humility. We were always humble, and it's simply because of the way we were raised.
That's right.
You know, we all came from single family parents. You know, our mom raised all of us, and we learned at a young age, you're only strong as your weakest link. That's why we stuck with. We never was Scotty and the Whispers, Leaveil and the Whispers. It was always the Whispers. That's what and so when we finally got to the point to where, now, you know, one day you can't get your clothes out the cleaners, the next day you can, we didn't change.
Yeah, the other thing
we didn't change. We just stayed the way we were.
Well, it also helps to be where you are in life. We weren't 21 or 22. Right. You know, had we been younger, because of the immaturity, that kind of money, and we see it all the time. You give a young 19, 20-year-old kid millions of dollars, and then they self-destruct because they're not mature enough.
That's right.
Thank God we had been around 11 years. Mm-hmm. And like Leaveil said, we were very lucky, man. We never smoked, never drank, never did drugs. And the humility, it never was Scotty, the twins featuring the whip. We always said we only as strong as our weakest link, and it's the Whispers.
That's right.
And as a result, man, it helped us stay steady, man. You know, believe me. And the proof is that we're here 53 years later.
That's right. That's right. And I always tell people all the time, you know, people like, man, you don't even seem like you know, because I got friends that I hang out with or people that I meet, but they never know what I do. And I don't, and it's not that I don't tell them, I just don't feel like saying, oh yeah, I'm one of the Whispers. You know, that kind of thing. I don't even use that. Yeah. But then they find out later and say, man, why did you tell me? I said, because that doesn't define who I am. Mm-hmm. That's a job. Yeah. That's what I was blessed to do. That's where God sent me throughout my life, to become an entertainer with the Whispers. But that's not the whole of me. So, so they're like, wow, you know, I've never seen an entertainer be like you are, you know, because they now that they know who I am, every time I go to the house, they playing the record. Or do you? And the funny part is like, do you remember this song? Like, yeah, I think I kind of remember it, you know. Wow. But and I tell them, and they said, you know, when we leave this industry, when we finally decide to pack it up for whatever reason that may be, you will never see the Whispers backstage at an event saying, hi, you remember me? I'm one of the Whispers. You'll never see that ever in life. You know, we're going to go on and we're not going to do that. We're going to go on and enjoy our lives with our grandbabies, our great grandbabies, you know, our family. That's what we're right now. That's what we enjoy more than anything in the world right now. So you'll be like, when we make that last announcement on stage, we're done. That'll probably be the last time you see it, now that you run across us in the street.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, the other thing you need to do, man, is be honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. We toured today, and sad to say, some acts probably should call it. Some still got it. But that's a decision that you have to make yourself.
Right.
You know better than anybody else when it ain't there anymore.
That's right. That's right.
You know, now you've seen our show. The day that we have to walk out and we cannot deliver the way we've always done, now it's up to you to be honest enough to say, you know what? I had a great run, enjoyed every bit of it, but now, man, it's time to go.
To give it up.
That's up to you to do that. Nobody can do it for you, you know. And man, we're still blessed. You know, I mean, at the age that we are, we still sing pretty well. And man, I tell you, nobody will have to tell me when it's time to go. It's up to me to know that and be honest with myself.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. That's well said once again. I have 2 questions in one, but they're real easy. Do you write your own music, and have you written songs for other artists?
No, we had one writer in the group. We lost him in 2016, and that was Nicholas Caldwell. Nick was a writer. Scotty runs up one song in his life.
Oh yeah, you wrote one song with Scotty. Which one was that?
Yeah, but Nick Caldwell was the writer.
Yes.
And you know, but he defined. You listen to "Lady" and "Say Yes."
Yeah.
That defines the whisper sound, which we feel that Nick Caldwell is responsible for. When you hear the Whispers today singing "Say Yes" and "Lady," that's Nicholas Caldwell. Biggest ballad. In fact, before there was any "And the Beat Goes On" and Rock Steady, we were known as a ballad group. So "Say Yes," "Lady," "Olivia," "Love Is Where You Find It," those are the kind of songs that, man, we've been blessed. And they were written by Nicholas Caldwell, and we're so proud of them.
Yes.
Wow, that's wonderful. And like I said, you guys have been performing for years. What do you like most about being a musician? Like just performing. What you like most about that?
Man, we've got 3 different answers. For me, it's going on stage. It's going on stage, having the audience, like Leaveil said. When you see their lips moving and they know them words better than you, man, I wish I could describe the feeling that gives you. There's nothing like that.
Wow.
You know, and it says that, man, they appreciate you being around for this long, and thank God you can still do it. I mean, it's just a feeling that I can't describe. I wish every entertainer that's doing it today, I know they got a different feeling, but that's the feeling that you can't describe. There's nothing like it.
Well, you know what else? If for those who can answer your question better than you, anybody listen to this show, you go pull up a song that's called "The Whispers Love You Too." It's on for your ears only. It would answer that question better than we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Nick, we tried to, we anticipated what you asked, and we tried to answer it in a song that's called "The Whispers Love You Too." Go listen to that song and you tell me how you think it makes us feel.
Okay. The Whispers love you
Yes,
too.
definitely. Yep.
Okay. The Whispers love you too.
Yes.
Check it out. Now, I ask this question to all my artists that comes on the show. If you guys got a phone call to do a versus, who would it be against? Who would you go up against in a versus?
Oh, that's easy for me. Yeah, I know. I don't know what you got, Leaveil Scotty would say, but it's easy for me, and that's OJ's.
Wow.
You know, I mean, we've been working for the last 40, 50 years together, and it's a quiet competition, you know. And we have the greatest amount of respect for each other, but every time we go on stage, we thinking about killing them, and they thinking about killing us. No question. I know that's what it is, you know. Unlike the young guys, we don't do it like that. But you know, we've both been blessed. Both groups have had their hits, and man, it just would be nothing better to go. In fact, that's in the works. It's probably going to come about.
As a matter of fact, it's been told. We've been contacted about that very situation.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably say during the earlier days when we first got signed to Solar Records, when we went on the Solar Galaxy of Star tours. Yeah, I think that was the time when we were all on buses. You know, Dick Griffey had all these buses with the the label of Solar. We're all touring together. Climax, Shalimar, Lakeside. Yeah, and we were family. It was really a family. But on stage, we were trying to kill one another on stage. We were trying to be the best that we could be, but it was a healthy competition. Because, it was a healthy competition because we wanted to bring, every one of us wanted to bring fire. And it spilled over to where we had a layoff and we played baseball. and play softball, and we was trying to kill one of their the baseball field, but so it's always been a healthy competition, probably not like it is today with the younger artists because they have all kinds of beef, but we just had fun in it, and it made us better as artists because we went back and tried to work on our craft. We wind up saying, okay, Lakeside did this time, but we're gonna come up with something even more slam than that. Or Shalimar would say, we got to do this or we got to do that. We always tried to adjust our show to be better than we were the last time.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's wonderful too. I know. You got to go. We pushing the time. What's next for the Whispers?
Well, the latest thing I told you about earlier, and we're very, this is very important to us. We're in the process of redoing our catalog. We're in the studio when we're not working. We're trying to complete it. It's going to take us probably a couple of years really to finish the because we've got hundreds of songs, and we want to put every one of them on tape so they're available to be bought by companies and corporations. But that's what we're in the process of doing now. It's very exciting. And we want to do it while we can still sing. Mm-hmm. And this is the legacy for our grandkids, as far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
We want to have the opportunity to own our music. And we say to all young people, now we don't have to say it to the young people because they taught us how to do it, to be honest with you.
That's right.
Yeah. Own as much of your property and music as you can.
So you want to act. Go ahead. I'm listening.
This is the part where we need to say to you, for you to realize the importance and role that you're playing. Mm-hmm. The platform that you've given us to tell the audience about this, we can't tell you how important it is to us.
Yes.
Because we don't take it for granted. The fact that you thought enough of us to bring us on here to allow us to spread that word out.
That's right.
Thank you, my brother. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. I think it's an honor for me to have you to come on the show. I'm telling you.
Well, we appreciate it, brother. We don't take it for granted at all.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And the fans, that will be watching this, can you give them your Instagram handles where they can follow you and maybe listen to some music?
Well, I think I mentioned it earlier. I'll pull it up again, but I think the best way that they can catch up with the Whispers is on, we have the Mighty Whispers website, we have the Whispers website, but if they want to buy any of our music, and especially this new stuff that's coming out, they can go to Spotify, iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon Music, YouTube, Apple Music, and also Google Music. So they can pick up any of our stuff. All of those platforms we're on right now. So, and I encourage people, like I said in another interview, if you have some questions about the Whispers, I'm on media. I'm on Facebook all the time. Hit me up, ask me a question. I'm always willing to ask. Nothing personal, but I can answer any question that you want about the music industry or our music or where to get our music or any of that kind of stuff. Yep.
Wow, wonderful viewers. I know they're going to get that. And just, Walter, I have to piggyback off this. You said you're going to put over 100 songs. You're going to release those songs, 100 songs of the catalog?
We have 27 albums that we've recorded over our 53-year career, and we want to put every one of them on tape so people can listen to them when we're gone.
Right.
Because that's what Columbia and Sony Records, that's what they do. Now we have an ability to do it on our own, and no question about it. That's
not only that, we also have an ability to benefit from it.
Yeah,
right.
And that we start benefiting. I mean, you can go deal with Sony, Donny, Warney, whoever you want to. We want to deal with the Whispers.
Exactly.
Right.
The other people that you're dealing with, they stole it from us.
Yeah.
Now we finally have an opportunity to get it back. Give us the opportunity to benefit like you have them.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, fellas, this was an honor. I thank you for giving me the opportunity. This is the legendary Mighty Whispers.
Oh man, thank you, brother.
Thank you
so much, man. We can't thank you enough.
Oh man, I really appreciate this, man. I hope I catch you guys. I know you're gonna be touring all over the place.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
No question about it. Whatever city we're in, call Willette at B&A Music.
Yeah.
Your music is your money's no good at a Whisper concert. Just tell her that.
Come on through.
Tell her that. Will you be coming to Atlanta soon?
Oh yeah.
Only a matter of time.
Only a matter of time.
Okay. Fellas, I thank you all. Leaveil, Walter, Scott, I will say Mr. Scott, Mr. Walter, Mr. Leaveil, because that's how I was raised.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for this interview, and I just want to say peace out. This will be shown everywhere.
Thank you, brother.
All over social media. I have a TV show, Comcast Network, Xfinity. I will show it on there everywhere, and see you guys a copy also.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Hi, I'm Walter. And I'm Scotty.
And I'm Leaveil.
And we're
the Whispers.
And you're looking at a vision, my brother. That's what it is.